The diner was almost closing when Evelyn wiped down the counter for the last time. She had worked double shifts all week, her tired feet aching, but her mind sharp. At table 7, a group of sharply dressed men leaned close over a folder. Among them was a face she instantly recognized, Alexander Reed, the billionaire philanthropist, a man who appeared on every business magazine cover. Evelyn's breath caught. What was someone like him doing in a small-town diner, conducting business of all places? She served their coffee, pretending not to notice the folder sliding across the table. But her eyes, trained from years of scanning bills, receipts, and legal letters for her struggling family, noticed something strange. The government seal printed on the documents looked off. The lettering wasn't aligned. Her heart pounded. This can't be real. But if it's fake, they're about to cheat him out of millions. She hesitated, tray trembling in her hands. Who was she to interfere? If she was wrong, she could lose her job, or worse. But when she saw Alexander lift his pen, ready to sign, something inside her refused to stay silent. Leaning closer as if refilling his cup, she whispered, almost too quietly. "Sir, that's a fake document." Alexander froze mid-signature. The men in suits stiffened, their fake smiles faltering. Evelyn's words, gentle but firm, sliced through their polished performance. Seconds later, chaos erupted. Alexander's bodyguards, waiting outside, stormed in. The men tried to flee but were quickly restrained. Evelyn stood frozen, heart racing, as she realized she had just stopped a $120 million scam with one whisper. Alexander turned to her, shaken but grateful. "Who are you?" he asked softly. Evelyn swallowed hard. "Just a waitress." But that night, everything changed. The next morning, Evelyn doubted herself. Had she done the right thing? She replayed the scene in her mind, her whisper, the men's shocked faces, the billionaire's silence. Would anyone even believe her part in it? After all, she was just a waitress with bills piled high and no one to defend her if things went wrong. Her doubts ended when sleek black cars pulled up outside the diner that afternoon. Alexander Reed himself stepped out, dressed casually this time, no boardroom armor. The whole staff went quiet. Customers whispered, phones half-raised for pictures. But Alexander ignored everyone and walked straight to Evelyn. "You saved me from the biggest scam attempt of my career," he said firmly. "Do you realize what that means?" Evelyn shook her head nervously. "I just noticed. Anyone would have done the same." He smiled faintly. "No. Most people wouldn't risk speaking up. Especially not to someone like me." Before she could respond, he placed a card on the counter. "I owe you more than thanks. Come see me tomorrow. I want to hear your story." The room buzzed as he left. Evelyn stared at the card in disbelief, his personal number. The billionaire everyone admired wanted to meet her. That night, she sat awake, wondering what to say. She wasn't educated in business, didn't have fancy degrees. She only had honesty, courage, and the instincts that had kept her family afloat for years. She whispered to herself, "What if this is my chance?" The next day, Evelyn stood outside Alexander's towering glass headquarters, feeling completely out of place. She had borrowed her sister's blazer, smoothed her hair back, and held tightly to her purse, but her heart pounded as she stepped inside. The receptionist greeted her warmly. "Mr. Reed has been expecting you." Upstairs, Alexander's office overlooked the city skyline. But his attention was entirely on her. "Please, sit," he said, gesturing to a chair. Evelyn perched nervously. "I don't know why I'm here." "You're here," Alexander interrupted gently, "because your courage saved me from signing away $120 million. If you notice those flaws, it means you have a sharp eye and uncommon intuition." Evelyn blushed. "I just had to say something." That's exactly the kind of integrity people spend millions trying to find, Alexander said. Then he leaned forward. Tell me, what do you want for yourself? If life wasn't holding you back, where would you be? No one had ever asked her that. She thought of her mother working 2 jobs, of her brother giving up college because they couldn't afford it. Her throat tightened. I'd want to study. Maybe law. Maybe business. Something where I could help people the way I helped you. Alexander smiled. Then let me help you. I'll cover your tuition, your living costs, everything. All I ask is that you never lose the courage to speak the truth. Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, Evelyn felt seen, not as just a waitress, but as someone with a future worth investing in. Months passed, and Evelyn began her studies with Alexander's support. The transition wasn't easy, long nights of reading, self-doubt creeping in, classmates who underestimated her. Yet every time she faltered, she remembered that night at the diner, the whisper that changed everything. One evening, while helping Alexander's company review minor contracts as part of her internship, she spotted something unsettling. The numbers on a small supplier deal didn't add up. It wasn't $120 million this time, just a few $1,000s, but the principle was the same. Her supervisor brushed it off. It's a rounding error. Don't worry about it. But Evelyn couldn't let it go. She took the file directly to Alexander. Sir, this isn't right. Someone's hiding extra charges. He studied her, then the file, then back at her. A smile tugged at his lips. You're still watching closely. That's good. Within hours, they uncovered a chain of small frauds amounting to millions siphoned from the company. Evelyn's persistence had caught what countless professionals had missed. The board praised Alexander for his leadership, but he pointed directly at Evelyn. The credit belongs to her. She has the eye and the courage none of us saw coming. Whispers filled the room. A waitress turned in turn had saved the company, again. Evelyn realized then that it wasn't just luck. Integrity had become her compass, guiding her every choice. And people were finally beginning to notice. Years later, the story of the waitress who stopped a $120 million scam became legendary in Alexander's company. But for Evelyn, it was more than a story, it was the beginning of a new life. She graduated with honors, her education fully funded, and was offered a permanent role in Alexander's firm. Not out of pity, but because she had proven herself invaluable. At the company gala, Alexander raised a glass and told the story once more, the late-night diner, the whisper, the courage of one young woman. The room erupted in applause, not for him, but for Evelyn. Afterward, Alexander found her in the crowd. Do you see now? He asked. That night wasn't luck. It was character. And character will carry you further than money ever could. Evelyn smiled, tears glistening. I just did what was right. Exactly, Alexander replied. And that's why you'll never be just a waitress again. You'll be a leader. The audience that night didn't just see a billionaire and a young woman who once served coffee. They saw the power of kindness, of courage, of speaking up even when it feels impossible. Evelyn's journey proved a timeless truth. Sometimes, the smallest act of integrity, just a whisper, can change the course of lives forever. And as she looked toward her future, she knew she carried not just an opportunity, but a responsibility, to use her voice for good, no matter the cost.